Full range or narrow range? Wow. This one has now reared its head, hasn't it, in our world? Because, you know, it used to be simple. Broadcast was narrow range, cinema was full range. And then HDR came along, didn't it, Steve?
Yep. And 90% of HDR is full range, even broadcasts to you or I at home.
Yeah. And you need a set of tools that you can trust so that you can analyze that signal. Because in an ideal world, yes, we will be sending lots of useful metadata within, the payload ID, which will tell you whether it's full range, legal range, standard dynamic range, high dynamic range, whether it's hybrid log gamma, PQ, or whatever. But that information's only as good as the source that created it and hopefully inserted it in the right place.
Exactly. I had a customer that was handed a piece of content. He put it into his software tools, opened it up, looked at this data, and it said, this is PQ, this is XYZ. He set up his encoder for his streaming service, put it out, and it looked like garbage when it came out the other end of the system, and he couldn't understand it. And what actually happened was it was marked as PQ, but it was actually HLG content. So in that case, you're telling the receiver that the whites are going out to 10,000 nits instead of 100 nits. And it just, and the color was off, everything about it was wrong.
You can see why it gets confused.
And he went back to the distributor of the material, and the distributor of the material didn't even know that they had put the wrong information in the metadata of the compressed file that they were handing him. And I had to go over and actually teach him how he could look at the waveform of the material to know that it was incorrect. So they were a streaming company that had no measurement capabilities whatsoever. And this would have saved him days of time mucking with his encoders, trying to see what the blankety blank was going on with his streaming service.
As we've discussed this, the waveform monitor can be your best friend when it comes to identifying, if you don't have that payload information, you can look at the waveform trace and you can see where the signals sit, and it's going to give you a pretty good clue as to whether it's HLG or PQ.
Yes.
You still need somebody who knows what they're looking at.
True, but it's pretty easy, like what you're looking at right there, without even reading anything that you've put below that, because the video is topping out at 75%, and most of the content is stopping at just a little bit over 50%. I can tell you this is a PQ clip that was graded to 1,000 nits.
And then if we take a look at an HLG clip, you can see now.
Yes. So now your whites, the primary part of the content's going up about 75%, with peaks going up to 100%. This would be HLG.
And don't forget, with both of these displays, we're using a waveform set for 709. We're not setting it for 2020. You've got the ability within a dedicated hardware product to force it. So it allows you then to carry out the necessary analysis to verify that what you're receiving.
Yes.
With software products that you can't set these things up, you haven't got a chance of finding this.
Yeah. And now you can set the hardware scope up for the proper color and the proper HDR, and now use all the other tools to even look at where they placed the HDR, SDR cutoff? And did they actually put all of that in the right place?